and record. Okay, guys, welcome to the What You Should Do This Summer and Fall to Build Your Brand and Business. I'm Stefanie Marrone, and I have a lot planned for you guys today. So if you have any questions, like I said, anything you want me to go over, just put it in the chat, put it in the Q&A. I will get to that stuff towards the end. So a couple of other webinars coming up in the fall, including one about LinkedIn company pages and another one about how you can use LinkedIn for business, strictly about business development. So stay tuned for those. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. So, one of the things people said to me, so that you're going to see that this is very heavy on social, which is not surprising for those of you who follow me. And people kept saying, oh, we're going back to normal. There are all these law firms that are, saying, as of September, come back to the office, blah, blah, blah. And then the Delta variant happened and firms were changing their policies. Conferences are now also being altered. I mean, there are some conferences that are being transformed into both an in-person and a virtual experience. I'm personally not quite ready yet to go back to that sort of networking, but I know that some are. And so we'll talk about that. But, I do still think that LinkedIn is still very important. Your online brand, not just LinkedIn, but webinars, email marketing, all of those things that you were doing online, they're going to continue to be incredibly important past the pandemic. We have changed so much as an industry, as people. We are forever, I think, different. I think, I remember the days when my law firms would fly me out to San Francisco or for the day for a meeting, or I'd go to DC for the day. And now I think we've learned we can be very efficient, virtually, although obviously there's no substitution for in-person relationships. But, to the extent that you yourself are doing this and want to cultivate relationships, yes, you can still do that and you should be doing it, be safe, all of those things. But online networking, online branding gives you the ability to do things in a way you weren't able to do them before. And the next couple of weeks, there are so many people, out of the office or in and out of the office, taking their kids to college, enjoying this, Labor Day is actually a little bit late this year, but I'm telling you, the next couple of weeks are a great time to plan ahead for all the things you wanted to do or want to do for the fall. Even though fall, it's still a very confusing time. And what I'll say, so I have on here marketing, summer marketing to-dos. Honestly, these are things you should be doing year round anyway. I just feel like right now you have a little bit more time to do these things. And when I say, do these things now, yes, I understand we're at the end of the summer, but you're positioning yourself for success into the fall, into the winter, into 2022. And, obviously, we will continue to monitor where things are going in terms of what you can do in an in-person, in in-person venues, but you will need to pivot, and pivoting has been, I think, the word of the last 18 months, right? We've all pivoted our business and pivoted our brands online. Now we may pivot ourselves into a hybrid of both of those, but regardless, these are tenets of marketing and business development that we should be doing anyway. And a lot of people are kind of slacking off a little bit, whether it's because it's the end of the summer or whether it's just because they're sort of feeling maybe overwhelmed. And this gives you and me a huge advantage over other people. So this is why I want you guys to do it now. So let's talk about it. And I'll go into a lot of these things later on, but if you do not have a Google alert set up for yourself and your top clients or prospects, that is one of the things I would recommend that you spend a little bit of time doing. Go into your client, your lawyer's, offices, well, virtual offices, and help them do this, right? Information is power when it comes to social media, when it comes to client development. So if your lawyers can bring up something they know they learned about one of their clients or a prospect from a Google alert, you're going to be in a really great place. And, we'll also talk about how this relates to the notification section of LinkedIn, which to me is I believe, one of the most important and easiest ways to cultivate relationships and new business on LinkedIn. And I'll talk about that in a minute. If you don't have a Google alert set up for yourself, you need to do that right away. And you also should be Googling yourself periodically, looking at the results. They change. Today, I noticed when I looked at the desktop, when I Googled myself, a lot of pictures show up as my first Google search result, then followed by my LinkedIn profile, and then my company website. Auditing your own personal brand is very important, and this is part of that step. So, Google alerts are free. They can come to you once a day, once a week, whatever you decide. It's just free information that you should put in your back pocket and use to your advantage. So this is a really great time to reevaluate your business goals for the year and set some achievable ones. I do not like long business plans. I like business plans that are quick. I have a sample business plan that I'm happy to send to anybody who asks if you'd like one. And the key to having a successful business plan is going to be make it short and achievable. If you give it to a lawyer, they're going to zone out if it's more than a page or two. And honestly, for myself, I do this. I have a couple goals. I write them down, and then I hold myself accountable. But you can't have more than 3, more than 5, maybe at maximum. And I'll show you how to do this. This is a great time to reconnect with former clients and referral sources, reaching out to people, just saying, hey, how are you? Not everyone's on vacation. And even if they are on vacation, we know they're tethered to their mobile devices. You probably will get a response from someone who is usually busy, right? So they're on vacation, maybe they're on a staycation, whatever it is. It's a great time to check in. So we'll talk about client alerts, blog posts, articles. I have a special section on this, and I'll be doing a separate program because I do believe in the power of a client alert and a blog post to lead to new business, to reignite relationships, and to be that calling card that's much more than just, hey, Jim, how are you? Haven't talked to you in a while. You need a reason to meaningfully be in touch with people, and content gives it to you. We'll talk about learning how to use hashtags, although I have a separate presentation. It's on my YouTube channel that you can watch for that. And then, making a connections plan for LinkedIn, we'll go into that. This is such a great time to update your bio and your LinkedIn profile, right? So the basics, get those down pat. Go through your summary section on LinkedIn. Go through your bio. Make sure it really includes everything you've been doing over the past 18 months. Make sure that it's written in a much less formal way. I'm encouraging all law firms and professional service organizations to get rid of the formality on their website. So nothing at all like, Mr. Jones practices in blank area. I don't even think you guys should be wearing suits and ties necessarily on your websites. I think you should take a cue from your clients. We've all become so much more casual now, and you can still be incredibly professional while just, getting rid of some of the formality that we had in our industry that maybe wasn't necessary. Becoming involved with your alumni associations is another key to success. So this is a great time to join your former firm's alumni network. So it doesn't matter if you left a former firm under, okay circumstances. It doesn't matter if you were asked to leave. You're still part of that alumni network. Go join it because you get to then connect with other people who worked at that firm. So a lot of firms have their own alumni portal, but then you also can join their LinkedIn alumni portal and do the same for your undergrad and law school alumni associations. And they have those a lot of times on LinkedIn as well. And then this is a great time to make sure that the practice descriptions and industry descriptions on your website reflect market conditions and are updated. So I just worked with one of my clients and we realized that we didn't have a description that reflected some of the work they were doing representing social media influencers. And I did some research and realized that there weren't a lot of firms that had that kind of a practice. So we created one. Look where their gaps are in the market and then go and create them. This is also a really good time to make sure that you've got enough words on each page on your website, 300 or more, and that you're using keywords. So if you don't know how to use search engine optimization, so that's SEO, this is the time to learn, right? Because your website content will only be as strong as the SEO tools that you're using. So make yourself an expert in SEO. And there are no quick fixes for this, and there's no SEO agency you can hire. Really, it's about good quality content with the right keywords. And then this is such a good time to look into bar association committees, social causes, or pro bono projects that you may want to be involved in. So, and also speaking engagements, right? So a lot of the things that I've gotten in all of these areas, including a lot of the speaking engagements I've gotten, have been things that I have raised my hand for. You know, I think if you sit and wait for things to come to you, you can be waiting forever, right? So this webinar is something I created and set the date for. And that's, you know, something I decided to do. There's no reason why any of you can't do that. You all should be, the lawyers on this webinar should be offering CLE credit by doing webinars. And then, you know, there are a lot of conferences coming up for 2022. Look them up, create a couple of really strong proposals, speaking proposals, and submit those, you know, and to get in touch with the conference organizers. A lot of times, like with PLI, so Practicing Law Institute, the programs are organized by the same lawyers each year. Why not reach out to those lawyers and say, you know, I'd really love to be considered for a spot on the faculty of this program. I've seen that work. And then if you're not comfortable yourself doing it, designate it to a marketing person like me or someone within your firm. I do that regularly, and it has resulted in speaking engagements. So I would just say, put yourself forward. Same thing for an article. A lot of the articles that I get published, I have pitched. So Law 360 and law.com publications in your area are looking for contributed content. So why not do that? Okay. So just to go back a little bit about me, and also I want to show you my LinkedIn profile because you should all be updating yours. There's some key components here. You know, obviously this is me. A lot of you are already connected with me on LinkedIn. If you're not, you'll see my URL at the bottom. This is my friendly URL. Okay, it means that my name is at the end of my URL. You should go and make sure your friendly URL is optimized, right? It's very easy to do this. I'll show you in a little bit. If it's not optimized, your name would be something like Stefanie Marrone Q4WP9, which makes me sound like a robot, right? You go in, you remove the extraneous characters, and then you've got your root here. If your name is common, you may have to put in your middle initial or something like an ESQ at the end. Now, word to the wise, your public profile URL, this URL, you should put this on your email signature because you want to facilitate networking. You should also put your company page URL for LinkedIn on your email signature again. This is a branding tool. So take the next 2 weeks and do the fundamental things like this. Go update this, put it in your email signature. And another idea would be doing a post to tell people to connect with you on LinkedIn and connect with your company page. I think a lot of people don't do those posts, and I think it's worthwhile. This kind of information should also be in your email newsletters. I have a YouTube channel that most people don't know about because I haven't done a great job of promoting it. And so sometimes I'll do a social media post about that. You could also do the same thing for an email sign up. So take some of your posts and make sure you're offering content, but I would definitely put that in there. Okay, so you'll also see here, guys, I have a banner image on my the top of my LinkedIn profile. If you don't have one, you should. I created mine in canva.com, canva.com. It seems like I work for them, but I don't. There's a paid version and a free version. I offer a free Canva class. If any of you want to come to that, let me know. But I can show you how to make an image like this. And I also have some tips on what to include. This is me because I speak a lot, right? There's so many different things you can do for a LinkedIn cover image. But the worst thing you can do is do nothing. Okay. So I also have my contact information and a way, I didn't put my LinkedIn URL because we're on LinkedIn, but you see I have my email address, my website, and what I do. So if you're interested in learning more about LinkedIn headlines, cover images, those sorts of things, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Another thing that's important is I have not turned on creator mode yet, but I am going to. And right behind your profile picture, you can now craft a 30-second video that describes who you are, what you do. And I would love for people to spend some time doing that over the next 2 weeks. That's another great thing. So you do not need to hire anybody to do this. You do not need fancy equipment. In fact, I think most people see right through that. You can easily do this with your phone. The only recommendation I have is that you should really be using a tripod. So I bought one on Amazon. I can show it to you guys or send you the link to it. And I do have one that has, I have a ring light, and sometimes I need it and sometimes I don't. Uploading a video about yourself is a great way to get people, to really, learn more about you, as long as it's not boastful. So I have some tricks about how to create a good LinkedIn video for your profile, which I'm happy to share with you guys as well. And then my other bit of advice is go and update your headline. You see mine here, I've recently updated mine. You've got, I think, 220 characters where it's got all this information here helping small, mid-size, and large law firms. This also is very important with keywords. Okay. So LinkedIn's SEO works differently than SEO on a website. You have to use keywords strategically, but not, you don't want to vomit the keywords, right? Your summary section should use the keywords, your experience section, your headline. And why would you care about this? Because let's say it doesn't matter if you're not looking for a job now, you may be looking for a job down the line. The other thing you may be doing is wanting a speaking engagement, wanting an article opportunity. And this is how I have honestly found a lot of these opportunities in my life, through LinkedIn. Most of my business has come through LinkedIn, or somebody finding me through LinkedIn and then being interested in my content. Another thing that happened with LinkedIn recently is that it's starting to categorize all of your posts, and it's going to put them in Google. This is huge. So you will want to start posting if you're not, okay? So all of these things are important. If anybody on this webinar has a great headline or has created a good intro video and would like to share it with us, can you put it in the chat, please? Okay, and I didn't really tell you guys about me because I figured you know about me and figured you wanted to learn more than know about me. But these are all the firms at which I've worked. I've done this for 20 years, which is hard to believe. I've had a little bit of tasteful work done here and there. Jim, I know you know that I've had a little bit of work done. And I went off on my own about 1.5 years, not knowing that this would turn into anything, but it turned into something. And I'm loving what I'm doing now, which is helping lots of different law firms and other kinds of companies with content, social media, and outsource CMO for a lot of different law firms. So that's me. And if you want to know anything about these firms, let me know, because I've got the inside track. Okay. So why is branding so important for lawyers? And by the way, all of these tips are for you all too, those of you who support lawyers, because we live in a digital world now and people are looking at you on LinkedIn. They can look up thousands of lawyers within not minutes, but seconds, right? So you've got to use it to your advantage. The other thing, so I mentioned this before and I want to go back to this. Some of us are not good at asking for what we want. We just wait for these opportunities to come to us. I think a lot of lawyers are like this as well. They're busy with their work and maybe they don't know how to ask for something they want, like a speaking engagement or maybe they have an outside PR agency. And so maybe this isn't as much of a concern. But for you all here as well, think about this. So this is what I was saying before. Sometimes you just need to ask to get what you want, like speaking engagements, right? And article opportunities, create a proposal for them. So don't write the article first, create a short proposal. Same thing with the speaking engagement as well. Volunteer roles, right? So easy to do this. Find out what the major organizations are, and then they're just looking for talent to help them. This is a great way. If you are a litigator, getting involved in a bar association committee can be amazing for your business and for relationships, right? I am not a believer, by the way. I hate when law firms say, well, we don't want to join that because it's only lawyers. That's so short-sighted. Or we don't want to invite those people because they're at another law firm. If you think of every and anybody as a potential referral source or client, you will be in a really, or someone who could put you on a panel or write an article with you. You will see immense and immeasurable opportunities everywhere, right? So, I just think it's so short-sighted when I hear law firms say that kind of stuff. So be inclusive. And then start writing on social. If you want to write or speak, a great way to do it is to build your own brand on social, because you own that. And so that's what I did. And I did that, by the way, like 10 years ago or more. And I did it long before I ever was starting my own business. When I was in-house at a law firm, I did it because I wanted to share information with people. So if you're not looking for a job, if you're not looking to start your own firm, it doesn't matter. You want to find other opportunities or maybe just be known in your industry. And you can do this by being your own content producer. And I see we've got a comment here. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. So the comment in here is about how Law360 and Law.com have paywalls, and it can be really annoying. Yes, I agree with you. What I would do is excerpt part of your content and then give people a sneak peek. Most law firms have subscriptions to those things. Most clients don't. So I agree with you, Jim. It's annoying. Sometimes there'll be some content that's not behind the paywall, but if it matters to you, publish it in a place where it is not behind one of those gated areas. Okay. You have a lot of choices where to go when it comes to social, and there's a lot of audiences on social, right? I've shown this slide a million times. It's just goes to show you, though, that there's, everyone's on social. We've also had to adapt how we write content. So if you're writing a very long 3,000, 4,000 word article alert, I don't know, because it's going to take a lot of people are reading content on their desk, on their mobile devices. So I encourage you, when you look at your email statistics, when you send out an email, because by the way, email marketing is still the gold standard for me in terms of reaching people directly, look at how they're reading things. Look if they're reading them on their mobile or on a desktop. That's going to tell you what kind of content you should create going forward, long form or short form, or a combination of those. Okay. And this is just a little cheat sheet. Again, I've shown this. It just tells you the kinds of platforms. I have had very limited success on Instagram. It is not easy to build your brand on Instagram in this industry. Twitter is also difficult, and I'm not sure the payout is there. I do believe for us, LinkedIn is terrific. And Facebook also, it's okay. It's hard. I have found YouTube to be incredibly important for me. And if you like to create videos, you can do this very easily with no money, no budget, nothing at all. And if you're interested in learning more about how to build your brand with video, I'm happy to also talk to you about that. Okay, so that's no doubt, you all know I love LinkedIn. And why? So here's the business opportunity for all of you who are like, I don't know if I should do this. Okay, here's why. You can, first of all, get a ton of free visibility when you post content on LinkedIn, because listen to this statistic. Only 1% of users out of almost 750 million actually post on the platform. Isn't that crazy? And this is like they post regularly. I should have qualified that. So what does this mean for you? It means more business leads, more brand awareness, and more career opportunities, okay? Success on LinkedIn isn't posting once every 6 months. And actually the algorithm doesn't even register you. You have to post somewhat regularly to be considered one of these people who LinkedIn may deem as a not influencer, but as somebody that has more clout on LinkedIn. And the more clout you have, the more LinkedIn will show your post to other people. It's free, everyone. It's free visibility, and it's right in the hands of your target audiences. Your network, so your posts are only as powerful as your network is as powerful, right? So this is why you should continually be building your network, and you should be continually. And by the way, I see someone has their hand raised. I'm not going to take questions during the presentation. If you want to put it in the Q&A, please feel free, or in your chat. And I'll get to the questions at the end. So you can get tons of free visibility doing this. But you need to continually build your network, right? And these are all the reasons why it doesn't matter whether you use LinkedIn once a week, once a year, or every day, you still wind up, so your LinkedIn profile winds up as your first or second search result. And by the way, I see that question. So what do I mean by regularly? Regularly means at least once a week, okay? Regularly does not mean every day. Regularly could be several times a week, but it doesn't mean once a month. I would rather you post a couple times a week or once a week, something really awesome, than post mediocre content every day. There's no rule that says you have to post every day, okay? So regularly can be a lot of different things. And I see, like Jim is saying in there, it really only matters if you have, so what you post is just as important if you have a strong network of people who are going to see it. And if you don't have a strong network, you need to build your network, and you also need to use hashtags, because hashtags enable your content to get found. And we'll talk about that. So this goes to your point, Stacey, but people say, I need to get more active, or I should get more active, right? Again, my profile, follow me. This is how I became successful on LinkedIn. I tell stories that are professional, but maybe, talk about some of my, why I decided to do what I do, a triumph story, something about why I got into my industry, I share a story about something that happened to me. I try to be engaging. I try to be consistent, right? I don't necessarily always post every day, and I certainly don't post twice a day. In fact, never post twice a day, because it will actually hurt your post. The algorithm will actually kind of, it's like a piranha. It will kind of attack the first post, and you'll wind up hurting both of your posts. So once a day is maximum. Company pages as well, although company pages march to their own, a different set of rules. Promoting others is part of who I am. So I have the Women Who Wow group. If you're not part of that, please let me know. Please join. I know we have some Women Who Wow on this webinar. It's a free program, and I feature lots of amazing women and their stories, and that is important to me to give back. And you can do the same thing, guys. You can share content that somebody else wrote, right? That's how you give back. All of those sorts of things are really, really important. And posting helpful content and being responsive, right? So responsive means replying to every single comment that you get on a post. That also improves your engagement. So these are two posts of mine that went viral. And one of them was about how to get a post that goes viral, which is funny. And you'll see how many post views it had. And one was about kindness, by the way, which I thought was really funny, actually. So never have any of the posts that I wrote about social media tips, they do well, or marketing. But the ones that do the best are about relationships, professional relationships, experiences, when I share something more, revealing and human. So consider that when you're writing a post. So these are all of the things that an effective social media strategy can do. And I'm not going to go through everything, but I will tell you guys, it's the hottest hiring market in 20 years in the legal industry right now. You're either getting recruited or someone's trying to recruit your people. So using social and using email marketing and all of these tools is going to be very important for you, right? And it improves your SEO. So I don't know if you guys heard what I said early on. LinkedIn is going to start indexing every single post that you make on Google, which means if you don't have good search results or a lot of SEO on Google, you are going to, if you post on LinkedIn somewhat consistently. Okay. And, listen, this isn't going anywhere, so you should get on board. Okay. So my favorite business development tool, and I call it the lowest hanging fruit on LinkedIn, is the notification section. This has proved to bring in new business for many of the lawyers with whom I work and business professionals. So this is that notifications tab. So it's the one with the little bell. And this is when it says, congratulations to Jim on a new job, or 5 years at X firm. Or I think it's the silliest one of all, but one of my clients just got a piece of business indirectly as a result of it. So wishing someone a happy birthday. I never filled out my birthday on LinkedIn. Has anyone here put their birthday on LinkedIn? If anyone has a success story with this, I'd love to hear it. Put it in the chat. So here's what happened. He saw that it was one of his clients' birthdays. Actually, sorry, flip it around. His client saw it was his birthday, reached out to him, wished him a happy birthday, said, how have things been going? Crazy times in which we live. Led to a conversation. Turned out he had a piece of business that would be a good fit for him. They wound up talking. He got the business. Okay. Same thing happened to someone else I know who wished someone congratulations on getting a new job. And someone else I know posted something about that they had published a book. And it opened the doors to reigniting a conversation. And then it led to a new opportunity, right? These are so easy. If you do not have the notifications turned on, you should go and turn them on. You can do this either on the mobile device or on the desktop version and use this information to your advantage. I think it is so easy to do this. And there are there are different rules for company pages. This is not necessary. This is not for company pages, and the notifications for company pages really don't show up for individuals. You have to go, they don't show up in the same place. They show up in a different place. So this is for the person, for Diane who asked that question. This is just for individuals, but use this information. Okay, one of the things that's so important, everyone, to know on social is to avoid me posts. A lot of people do this. I saw one yesterday. So I'm going to put it up here and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Did this rub anyone else the wrong way? So this was Best Lawyers in America awards just came out, I guess, earlier this week or late last week. So this is a lawyer who is writing a post about how they are very humbled, although I don't think they're very humbled, to be honest with you, about being selected. Okay, now I have a problem with all these peer review ones. Don't get me started. Super lawyers, best lawyers. That's another webinar. But I don't think this comes across as humble, in my opinion. Do you guys think this comes across as humble? And I think that this isn't necessarily the right way to do this. I would rather see, if you're going to share a post like this, I would rather flip it and say, 10 years ago, I never thought that I would be working at a firm like blank blank or be an employment lawyer. It took a lot of hard work and blah, blah, blah. I'm so lucky to work at a firm that blah, blah, blah. This past 18 months have been unprecedented. I wouldn't be able to have an honor like this if it wasn't for the team that supports me. Something like that, I think would be a better way to frame this other than this. I think it's more humbling to be recognized by your clients, not your peers. So yeah. And also I think talking about where the other people who have been recognized might be a better, the other people and you're in such great company would be a better way. I don't know. So I don't like posts like this. I don't ever post things like this about myself. And I don't allow my clients to do it either. We try to find a news hook or a different way to do it. And I recommend you do the same. Okay. Email marketing is the most effective way to reach your clients. Take the next few weeks to build your email lists. If you haven't, update them. I really would do that. Look at the bounce backs. go back to your past few email campaigns and look to see what people, first of all, which ones are doing well, which ones are not, which ones are resonating with people, and really go into the information and make sure you have the right contact people, right? Email marketing is such an effective way to directly reach people. It doesn't mean you have to have 8,000 people on a list for an email to be effective. I have a client who has 150 people on a newsletter, and he has almost 50% open rate for that email. That's a much more effective email than if you have 5% of an 8,000 person list. So it's quality, not quantity. But spend the time over the next few weeks to build your list. And by the way, 'tis the season, the holidays are coming. This is the right time to get your holiday card lists updated, because right around the corner, we've got holidays, right? We've got to do I love the idea of the Thanksgiving card because it's first to market. Everyone celebrates Thanksgiving for the most part, and you can beat your competitors if you do it. And it's a really nice thing to say that you're either giving back to the community, supporting a charity, or whatever it may be. And I have some ideas on what you could do for your holiday or end of year cards this year. But before you know it, it's that most wonderful time of the year. I'm being facetious, everyone, just FYI. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly go through some things here. I know there are some questions, but just know that storytelling is one of the most effective ways that you can really build your brand, whether it's presenting, whether it's social media, whether it's a new business pitch, anything. If you can tell a story, I promise they will remember you. I was just giving a presentation to a firm that was having bad luck in their pitches and proposals. And I asked them to give me, show me their pitches and then give me a sample one. And the mistake they were making was they were basically using the same template for every client, just removing the client name and on each page basically. And it seemed so formulaic. It wasn't tailored. And there wasn't anything unique about them. And there wasn't anything like when I'm talking about telling a story, I'm talking also about how can you really convey to your client or prospect why you want to work with them or what you've done in the past that could be helpful to them. And so think about that. And then helping others should be the key to every single thing we do that's going to make you stand out. I mentioned storytelling already. And then just know that done is better than perfect. We all labor over things. We all can edit things. We're all perfectionists. Many of you have JDs, but we have to just say enough is enough with some of the things. We can't possibly keep editing things. We need to just get them out the door. Time is of the essence with your client alerts and your blog posts. You're not trying to win a Pulitzer Prize. So just get it out the door and move on to the next thing. I am so guilty of this perfectionism and procrastination and all of this thing, I think, is just a mistake. And then show up on LinkedIn every day and watch what happens. This doesn't mean that you need to post every day. You can be really successful commenting on posts or liking other people's posts and that sort of thing. Being an employee who's engaged in your company's posts, that's also very powerful. Here are some other things about, things you can be doing. I have an editorial calendar that helps me organize myself. You should have one as well if you're going to be posting a lot. You should also have one for your company, and that helps to really organize your content. And, and I like to identify what I call content pillars. Figure out what your company or your own personal content pillars are. Maybe there are 3 to 5 of them, and these are areas for which you want to be known. And, every firm can't, if you have 25 practice areas, you cannot post about 25 practice areas. You're going to have to pick which ones. Maybe it changes every 3 months, you focus on different things, but I would definitely make sure that you're doing that. So I was talking about Google earlier. I've mentioned this before, but 80% of all law firm website visits come through Google. So even if I know how to find you, I'm still going to Google to search for you. This is a look at Brad Karp. He's the chairman of Paul Weiss, and you'll see his Google search result. It's his website bio followed by LinkedIn. Actually, does anyone want to tell me what's wrong with Brad's LinkedIn profile right off the bat? I'll give a little prize to whoever can get it first. But I can tell you that it is right. Yes, Rebecca, good. So it is about the URL. So Brad didn't do his friendly URL, which you are all going to go do. His says Brad Karp 25021A2A. No, it should be Brad Karp, right? So he should go in and update that and you'll see, right there, right? Now, Brad has a Wikipedia account, right? A Wikipedia page. Do you need a Wikipedia for your firm or for firm founders? You may. I'm curious to know if any of you have set up Wikipedia pages for your firm or for firm leaders. That would also be something you could do over the next few weeks, the next month, is setting up a Wikipedia page. Just know that you've got to have citations. So when I was working in-house, I did not do it from the law firm website. I know like they were wise to us. And so we did it from different computers at home. You can't go in there and put bullshit. Like you can't like source, say, Paul Weiss is the best law firm in the world. They'll cut that out. You have to have lots of sources. It takes a while to do a Wikipedia entry, but I saw Thais, you're on here. Also, I think that Jacob, if your managing partner doesn't have a Wikipedia account, a Wikipedia entry, he should, a profile. So it comes up very high in Google search results. So spend some time creating one. And let me show you guys my my Google search results. Remember I said you should always all Google yourself. So number 1 is my LinkedIn profile. My number 2 is my website, and then my Twitter, which was like, I was actually quite surprised about Twitter showing up. And then I've got, below the fold here, I've got lots of other things, but go and audit your LinkedIn. I'm sorry, I say LinkedIn, your Google search results here. Okay. And look how it took my header, that first 2 lines of my profile where I talk about who I am, it pulls that into Google. That's why your headline is so important, okay? All right, so we're gonna go through this. I mentioned Google. A lot of people are looking at our social and invisible user only mode, so make sure you know that. The bar is very low for most of us when it comes to law firms and individuals, to be honest with you. I'm seeing a lot of people post very personal content on LinkedIn. There is a fine line between very personal. Also, the middle is what not to do. That's like hashtag vomit, right? Everyone here should try to get to 500 plus when it comes to your network on LinkedIn. I said quality over quantity, but we want to have quality. Spend the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, next month, really purposefully engaging with people and building your network. When you get to 501, your profile says 500 plus, and that's where you want to be. Okay. And the more people you have, the more people will see your content. I mean, that's just math, right? I'm going to skip over a few things. I just want to go into, if you're looking for a to-do list, I'll send this around to the attendees today. Here are some things I recommend you do. And this is something you guys should be doing over the next few weeks as well. Make a list of topics to write about that interest you. I look at other people to see what they're writing about for inspiration and gaps. I think about what's different about me, right? What can I offer that somebody can't? One of the things I can offer is that different than other consultants, I've worked at law firms for most of my career. So I know what it's like to be inside law firms. And so I think that gives me a competitive edge. Find your competitive edge. Build your network so that when you are ready to start posting, you have that already built in audience, right? So that's that 500 plus. If you're at 500, keep going. Comment on others' posts to foster community, but it also builds your visibility. And learn how to use hashtags and custom images. Post consistently, right? Repurpose your content and use analytics. All of these things are so helpful. Okay. The weekend can be great to post. I recommend you do that. And then just quickly on the LinkedIn algorithm, I've gone over this. I'm not going to go over this again. It's really important that your post does well in the first couple of hours. But let me explain something to you guys. This is new. I just posted a video on this. If you, and this goes for company pages and individuals, if you see a mistake you made on a LinkedIn post, or you want to change something, or you want to add a hashtag, or you want to tag someone, you can't edit the post. Well, like you can, but you're going to go back to square one when it comes to visibility and engagement. So you shouldn't. LinkedIn will penalize you. This is new in the engagement. So if you see a glaring mistake, delete the entire post or wait a week or 4 days or so that it's not fresh in the content wheel, and then update it. But really make all of your edits before you post it, because you don't want to do this that day. And I would say for the person who said, for Diane, what about the time of day posting? Attorneys always approve posts at the end of the day. Should you hold the post until the morning? The time of day that you post matters. I think it's better to post in the morning. It depends on the time. It depends on the day of the week and the time of year. The next 2 weeks will be very tough. And I would not post anything on Thursday, Friday for the next couple of weeks, okay, until after Labor Day. I would, if your attorney is approving something at 4 or 5 o'clock, don't post it at 4 or 5 o'clock unless they are clamoring that you must post it. I would wait until the morning, because you'll get better engagement, more people will see it. The problem when you post something at the end of the day is that people may see it, but then it's going to get superseded by all of the content overnight and in the morning. That's why. So content that you post in the morning, I would say before noon, is going to do better. Okay. But just take heed on this. Don't update your posts unless you have to. And then, let me skip over a lot of these things because I've gone over this before. This is something new here. Using own media in your social strategy is really important. So over the next few weeks, I'd love for you guys to think about how you can reuse bios and practice descriptions and older blog posts and client alerts. So I have a running series on a lot of my clients' social that is, look at our real estate practice. And then it has a beautiful image and it highlights the capabilities of the real estate group. And then it links to that practice area. I do that for all practices strategically, and I build that into my content calendar. And that is an amazing way to give visibility to practices that don't necessarily get in the news all the time, or that, or for which you want to draw attention. Same thing with bios. So you would be doing that to highlight certain lawyers, right? So you want to draw attention to Mary Jones, and then you just post a link to her profile and with some key facts about her and her headshot. Use this in between your timely posts and the me content, which is like, the awards and the other things, right? Q&As and spotlights on individuals and maybe your softer side stuff, CSR, pro bono, diversity, recruiting, very important right now, especially in this hot job market. This is stuff you could be doing right now, right? When you have some time over the next few weeks. And then Lowenstein Sandler does this first 100 days, get to know their laterals. And so they revisit their laterals 100 days into the tenure at the firm and ask them what it's like to be at the firm. Obviously, they're going to say good things, but I think it's an interesting content series. And then hashtag holidays are terrific. I have a regular series where each month I'll put up what the holidays are for the preceding month. So, I know in September, by the way, is Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th to November 15th. We've also got a number of other important holidays in September that you should think about highlighting as hashtag holidays. Okay, and I'm going to skip over. These are some things. I won't be able to get to this, but I'm going to be doing a separate program on how to write client alerts and blog posts that your clients actually want to read. So I'll skip over that for now. And then just know for hashtags, don't do this. And don't tag lots of people in a post. And I'll show you guys. Oh, this is August hashtag holidays. So let's look to see what's coming down the pipeline. So for the rest of the month, So National Dog Day is August 26th. That is coming up, but what a great post would it be to feature your employees with pictures of their dogs, right? Lawyers have dogs too, guys. It humanizes them. National Bow Tie Day. If you have anyone at your firm who wears bow ties, that's another great one. And National Women's Equality Day. I mean, I don't need to say more on that one. That's an important one. Here are some strategies for success when it comes to LinkedIn. Just think, contributing, participating, intentionality, trying new things out, watching, listening, and learning, and consistency, giving without expecting a darn thing in return, and helping others, and then don't brag. You can turn people off. Lawyers are notorious for this. We need to counsel them on this. Finding our voice with whatever we do is so importantly, and being ourselves as well. I know lawyers are nervous about that. For those lawyers who are, follow Frank Ramos. Frank is terrific, and his posts are, just helpful advice. Sometimes talks about actual legal advice to the extent that he can on LinkedIn, but most of the times he's just giving mentoring advice. And I think he's a great example of a lawyer who's really found his voice on LinkedIn. Okay, and then just going through some LinkedIn stuff. This is, again, how you edit your custom URL. I'd love for you to do that over the next couple of weeks if you haven't, and then put that URL in your email signature. Make sure your contact info is updated as well, and that you have a cover image and that you've updated your headline, okay? This is what it looks like when you didn't update your cover image. So, you don't want that gray image. Your about section is something I'd also recommend that y'all think about updating. Even do it for yourselves. Short paragraphs are very important. No dense copy on social. No dense copy on the website bios either, in my opinion. So short paragraphs are the key on client alerts as well. And I'm just going to skip to the end. If you're not using the featured section, you should be. That featured section is so awesome and highlights items that you've posted on your profile. So do that, and I really think you'll be successful there. And if you haven't yet tried LinkedIn Stories, I would venture into that area, especially over the next few weeks. If you don't know how to use it, you could. Here's why. So LinkedIn Stories are available to companies and individuals. They last for 24 hours, similar to Instagram Stories. Why I like them? Not many people are using them. Not many companies are using them. And it pushes your content to the very, very top of the mobile device. Here are some ideas for LinkedIn Stories that you can post, right? So you can highlight videos and firm history and top 5 lists. And something I do with client alerts is that I take a screenshot of, I use my screen recording, and I'll actually go through the post. And so it's looks like it's moving, because it is moving. It's a video. So, you can promote lateral arrivals. You can share job postings. I don't know anybody who's having an easy time hiring right now. So that's another way to highlight your jobs. Okay. And then I went over some to-dos. Remember that done is better than perfect. And I have some homework for you if you choose to do it. Set up a Google alert for yourself and your VIP contacts. Use LinkedIn. Actually use it. I didn't go into evergreen content, but that is content that just, is not specific to a time, right? So it's not tied to a development. It's something that, could be used anytime, maybe a year from now, why you need a will, or what to do when you get a subpoena, right? So I encourage you to help, think about topics. So if you're a lawyer, think about some topics that fall into this category and write about them, because this will help your SEO as well. These are content gifts that keep giving, because the content doesn't get stale. Reach out to 3 contacts with whom you haven't been in touch, whether it's because you saw that they got a new job, or they celebrated an anniversary, or it's their birthday. You never know where it could lead, right? I would also put together a proposal for a speaking engagement and submit it, and write an article. Why not, right? work on your LinkedIn cover image and your headline. And this is that great time to update your bio and your LinkedIn profile. If you're not comfortable using LinkedIn, just start by engaging, start commenting on someone's post. I first started building my own brand by commenting on other people's content. And LinkedIn has just done this thing that it gives you a prompt now. If you comment on someone's comment, it enables you to then say, click a button and you can share it as a post. I mean, LinkedIn is making things so easy. So just take a look if you haven't gotten that feature yet. And LinkedIn groups can be great if you use them. So if you're trying to network and you're like me, not ready to go back to in-person conferences, they can work. It's what you make of them. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys. I know there were a couple of questions and I'm almost out of time. I'm going to see what's in the chat here. Okay, so let's see. So I answered the time of day posting. And we've got some people in here who said they've set up Google Alerts for themselves. Yes, if you have a common name, you may have to sift through some stuff. And so I'm sorry, there's really no way to get around that. Okay, when it comes to a Wikipedia page, his wins happened a long time ago. Should I still set one up? Yeah, I would set one up actually. As it takes a while before somebody reaches that stature where they are worthy of a LinkedIn, of a Wikipedia, profile. I think it's worth doing it. It doesn't have to be that they had a win recently. It's their whole professional history. So, Stacey, I would actually set that up. Someone asked, and it is true. Jacob said it's only possible if the attorney is genuinely notable and has been profiled by third-party reputable sources. Yes. So you can't just set up a Wikipedia page for someone without citations. And the citations can't be from your firm website. They have to be from third-party sources. So, it has to be a news article that confirms the information that you're saying. You can't say, Stefanie Marrone is an amazing lawyer without backing it up, and it can't be an item on your website that backs it up. Okay, and I think there is, let's see, okay, there's not a ton of other stuff in here. Someone asked about the deck. I will share the recording of this, and then if there are a couple slides in here that have a bunch of tips, I will share those with you guys as well. And then oh, yeah. Okay. So someone asked the question, can you speak to the trend of using talks about followed by several hashtags, either followed in one's headline or in place of one's headline? Okay. That, Barbara, is LinkedIn creator mode. I haven't turned it on yet because I have been told that engagement with posts goes down. So a couple of things happen when you turn on LinkedIn creator mode, including you don't necessarily always get the opportunity to accept connection requests anymore. I think everyone turns into followed. People can follow you. There have been some things that I've heard have been tricky and buggy about it, so I haven't turned it on yet. That's why you're seeing talks about or the hashtags. You can include the hashtags without putting the creator mode. So I can tell you that you can absolutely do this. Okay, and then someone asked, are there any crash course resources on learning SEO that you recommend? I will get back to you, Erin. The answer is no, but I have a couple of ideas for you. What's the best times to post to LinkedIn? Oh, yes. Okay, not first thing in the morning on Monday, not really Friday, in my opinion. Anytime other than first thing in the morning on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not after 8 p.m. So this is all local time. And then I also, I would consider posting on the weekends occasionally because I find that you do have great engagement, although you won't have everybody on LinkedIn, but I think COVID has thrown all the rules out the window. And then someone asked about repurposing, updating old content into new pieces. So I have a whole section in this presentation on that I didn't get to. You can easily do that. There are so many ways, and it's amazing what you can do to save your content and repurpose it. So I will do another presentation on that. But you basically, if you have a client alert, you can take a quote from the client alert or a call out and you can turn that into a social media post or a separate email blast, right? Look for interesting facts that are in the post. Okay, and then I saw we have a couple people raising their hands. Could you guys put whatever is the question in the Q&A, and I will get to that. I'm gonna stop recording right now, but I'll stay on for a couple more minutes. And because the webinar is not gonna let me let you answer the question, but I wanna just thank everyone, but I will stay on for a little bit. I'm just gonna stop